morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Monday, December 28th, 2015. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please go to CATEX TV. Severe weather that created a series of deadly tornadoes and flash flooding that killed at least 43 people in the United States continued its violent march across the Midwest and South today as governors have declared disaster areas in many states. The governor of Missouri declared a state of emergency late last night. At least 6 people have died in flooding in his state. 240 roads are closed in Missouri. Today, severe storms and tornadoes are expected in the southeast, including Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. Snow and ice have brought whiteout conditions to the state of Oklahoma, as well as in parts of Texas and New Mexico. The governor of New Mexico has declared a state of emergency. In Oklahoma, 48,000 customers are without electricity. And according to the National Meteorological Service, a storm of epic proportions is going to hit Texas today. Some 8 to 16 inches of snow are expected. Some areas are expecting 20 inches of snow. Combined with the 50-mile-per-hour winds, they are expecting drifts of as much as 12 feet. This entire storm system is expected to make its way east. It's right now in the upper Midwest today, with Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan all expected to pick up several inches of snow. By late tonight and early tomorrow morning, it is expected to be in the northeastern part of the country. Snarling transportation, no doubt, for holiday travelers. The situation is no better in the United Kingdom. Flooding now in Britain is now expected to cost the insurance and reinsurance industry about $1.5 billion. Parts of northern England are suffering their worst floods in more than 70 years, with vast areas remaining underwater. British Prime Minister David Cameron is visiting the area today. He has sent in 500 soldiers to help the exhausted residents and emergency workers. Another 1,000 troops are on standby. The Prime Minister described the flooding as unprecedented as the damage spread to major cities of York, Leeds, and Manchester. According to the head of the Environmental Department, Liz Truss, in Lancashire, every single river was at record high, and in Yorkshire, we've seen some rivers a meter higher than they have ever been seen before. And in South America, flooding has struck there. 160,000 people have been evacuated from their homes in an area bordering Paraguay, Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil. At least 8 people have been killed across those 4 countries as a result of the flooding. The Paraguay River, which flows through Asuncion in Uruguay, has reached a level of about 8 meters above its normal height. Power supplies have been cut off in 125,000 homes across Uruguay. In Formosa, Argentina, about 60 miles south of Asuncion, almost 4 inches of rain fell on Christmas Day. In the northeastern Nigerian city of Maiduguri, Boko Haram is actually launching an all-out military attack. Multiple suicide bombers are involved. Rocket-propelled grenade attacks are ongoing. At least 30 people have been killed. The death toll could go much higher. The attack appears to be a challenge to the Nigerian president's declaration last week that Boko Haram had been, quote, technically defeated and capable of launching no more than suicide bombings on soft targets. Well, with multiple suicide bombers, as many as 10 in this instance, as well as an attack of rocket-propelled grenades, the death toll could in fact rise. A nurse speaking on conditions of anonymity at the hospital in the area said that the hospital is so overflowing with patients that the maternity ward is now being used to care for shrapnel victims. The Bermuda-based bond insurer Guaranty has struck a deal with Puerto Rico's indebted electric company and its bondholders that will enable the electric company to restructure about $8.2 billion in debt. The deal has been described as the largest restructuring in the history of the $3.7 trillion municipal bond market. The Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority, also known as PREPA, is going to see its obligations cut by more than $600 million. Investors are going to take haircuts of about 15% in a debt exchange. The pact requires that Puerto Rican lawmakers approve the deal by January the 22nd. The deal also includes bridge financing that enables PREPA to avoid defaulting on its $196 million January 1st interest payment. Among U.S. states, only California and New York have more debt than the $70 billion owed by the Puerto Rican Commonwealth, which has a population of only $3.5 million. 12 people have now been detained in Shenzen, China, over the debris dumping collapse that has left dozens missing and about 75 confirmed dead. They also confirmed that a former district official whose office approved and oversaw the huge 300-foot-high dump site committed suicide by jumping from a building. A dozen people were placed under, quote, mandatory measures, which is a broad term for confinement in China, including at least one senior manager of an investment company that operated a subcontract storing and amassing the giant pile as a result of construction which was going on in the area. Residents complained that the site was taking in huge amounts of dirt and other building waste day and night, causing dust and pollution. However, few realized that it was also a potential disaster. Engineers who did examine it confirmed that dangerous erosion and poor monitoring was in place. On Friday, the central government said that they determined that the disaster was a man-made accident, not a freak of nature. And the Communist Party Secretary of Shenzen vowed that any officials found culpable would be punished. The largest container ship ever to dock in North America arrived at the port of Los Angeles over the weekend on Saturday. The Benjamin Franklin is 1,300 feet in length. It's longer than the Empire State Building. It rises out of the water nearly the length of a football field, about 300 feet. The vessel is a French vessel. It can transport 18,000 containers, which is about 33% more cargo than most ships docking at the port of Los Angeles. It's too big, of course, to pass through the Panama Canal. The ship is expected to be unloaded at the port over the next 4 days. It takes that long to unload. It's then scheduled to return to Southern California, docking at the port of Long Beach sometime in early 2016. It's unknown who has the cover on this ship, but it is a very big target. That's the news for today. It seems to be an awful lot of natural disasters ongoing. Things in the reinsurance industry seem quiet. Today is Boxing Day in Bermuda, and in Britain it's a bank holiday. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. We'll see you tomorrow.